Nelson Mandela and his ANC were very much in the spotlight of Soviet diplomacy. Moscow provided them with all sorts of help, including military aid. Now the idea was that Nelson Mandela comes to power and then South Africa becomes yet another Soviet satellite. As it happened, of course, by the time the apartheid regime did fall, Moscow had enormous problems of its own to deal with, so South Africa fell by the wayside. Nelson Mandela, the revolutionary, may have been famous in the Soviet Union. Nelson Mandela, the statesman, never really achieved the same level of prominence in Russia.
For most Latin Americans, Mandela will be remembered as an icon of freedom. To many Cubans, he was portrayed as a friend of the revolution who in 1991 spoke to crowds alongside Fidel Castro, recognizing the country's military contribution to the liberation of Angola. Now, some draw comparisons between the two men, arguably the most famous revolutionaries of the 20th century. But others are critical of the friendship, unable to understand how a man who fought for democracy and human rights never spoke out against Castro's long-staying power and crackdowns on dissent.
Across Europe, from Scandinavia to the Balkans, Nelson Mandela was held in great esteem and was given honorary doctorates, citizenships and degrees by various European countries. Scandinavia in particular bankrolled and subsidized the ANC when it was in exile. And I remember here in Britain, the anti-apartheid movement was particularly passionate, and I think it was spurred on by the fact that the Prime Minister at the time, Margaret Thatcher, famously labelled the ANC as a terrorist organisation.
The Mandela magic was sprinkled far and wide. He went to Canada. He was welcomed as a popular hero right across the country. Now, when he crossed the border to the United States, he was also welcomed as a hero. When it came to US politics, though, it was a different thing. He did criticize the United States on one occasion as being a threat to world peace. He chastised the US President George W. Bush. And the US even had the embarrassment that up until 2008, Nelson Mandela was on the US's terrorism watch list. So he wasn't the man of the people. He loomed large. It was a different thing, though, when it came to his politics.
Nelson Mandela was an iconic and inspirational figure in the Arab world. He was widely respected for his struggle against the apartheid in his country, South Africa. He's also highly regarded for his support to the Palestinian cause and for his role in the 90s in helping to resolve the long-running dispute between Libya and the West over the Lockerbie bombing.
While my first memories of Nelson Mandela's name are from the famous Nelson Mandela Marg, which is a road in the heart of Indian capital of Delhi, his struggle against apartheid and him drawing inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi were a regular subject of teaching in schools. In fact, Mandela even wrote about how Gandhi is his teacher in 2000 in Time magazine, and the respect, admiration and the special place that he occupies in Indian hearts is evident from the fact that he is one of the only two foreigners ever who was presented the Bharat Ratna Award, the highest civilian award in India.